with Tyler Moss and Tyler Baird, joined now by Cooper Thacker, junior offensive lineman for the Wasatch football team. And he's had himself a great season. Cooper, thanks for taking time this morning, waking up early and coming and talking with us on the air here.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it. I'm going to have you pull that microphone a little bit closer to your mouth there. Yeah, push that. There you go. We got to have the listeners so they can hear you over here. Cooper coming off a big win last night. But before we dive too much into the details and logistics on that, having a fun conversation off the air with you a little bit. And you said you're kind of liking that idea for SEC teams in the college football playoff. Talk to us a little bit about that. What are your thoughts on that one?
Hopefully Coach Knight is listening to this. I think SEC is a stronger conference there, to be honest.
So you like the SEC over any other conference, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Cooper. I'm not sure they're better than the Big Ten over there. I think the SEC overinflates themselves. Don't you think like they all give themselves these rankings, and then they play each other. They don't play anyone else, and then the
Illinois is the third best team right now in the Big Ten, and you're saying that the Big Ten's better than the SEC? Just think about that for a second.
Yeah, that feels a little bitter coming out that way, but I'm going to stick to it. I think they're deeper. I like Michigan. I like Ohio State. Wisconsin's usually very competitive. Penn State, I know they got blown out, but yeah, they got some depth over there in the Big Ten. So, all right. So if you're a college football guy, then what's your go-to college football team? Who do you like to watch? Like if you got time on a Saturday and you want to sit down and watch a game, what are you looking for the college football?
I like Michigan's uniforms. I'll be flat out with that. I like Tennessee's uniforms. I don't know why the uniforms are a big deal to me, but
So Michigan and Tennessee's uniforms?
yeah.
I'd agree with that. I like that.
I've actually always thought that Wasatch, if they copied Michigan's uniforms, it would look awesome. Like if they had those Michigan-style helmets at Wasatch here, I'm with you on that. I think that looks
I agree
good.
with
Do
that,
black and gold, though, not the blue. Do the black and gold style. That would look good. I like that there. Do you have an NFL team that you follow along with?
I'm a Broncos guy, but that's just
Tough year for a Broncos fan.
Yeah, it really is.
You have faith they can turn that around.
You know, I'd like to say so, but Russell hasn't showed very great abilities yet, but
Yeah, it'd be interesting this week. Zach Wilson going to Denver to take on the Broncos here. Who's your pick? You like the Jets and Zach Wilson, or your Broncos and Russell Wilson?
I like the Broncos, but I have to roll with the Jets, honestly.
All right.
They showed strongly against Green Bay last week.
All right. Well, Cooper, one of my favorite things here that we've had in just Wasatch history is talking about your family, the Thacker family, and the football legacy that's there. 3 generations of running backs, 3 generations wearing number 44. And here you come that you are a monster. Like you're like twice the size of your brother here. And I'm sure when there's a fight at the home, you've got to win that one, right? Because you're just so much bigger than he is. So I notice you're not wearing 44 here. I got to ask you a little bit about that. What's going on now where you're breaking the tradition and the trend to walk away from 44?
You know, I would choose to be running back if I could, but I got to say Coach Coburn or Coach Roberts won't like that.
Well, they like you where you're at now, right?
Yeah,
Playing on the offensive line. And have you played line your whole life growing up? Was this a late move as you grew a little bit, or where have you been your whole life with football?
I started football in 8th grade, actually, and I was on the B team, which is kind of crazy to think about, honestly. Just to take a step kind of quickly to varsity football.
Why so late starting football? Did you just not like it as much, or?
I don't know, honestly. I just never felt like it was for me, and then 8th grade year, I loved it. I don't know why. I just fell in love with the game, I guess.
Talk to us a little bit, because you mentioned that there's been a pretty big jump from sophomore year to junior year. Sophomore Cooper Thacker compared to junior year Cooper Thacker. And then I would say, like, you and Austin McNaughton have been the most consistent offensive lineman we've had this year. Can you pinpoint something that you would give credit to why you've made such a good jump from sophomore ball all the way up to a very good varsity player this year?
I would say the weight room. Me and Austin, shout out Micah Gogan, we always go work out there. We're doing 2-a-days there in the off season. Like we're always in the weight room if we're not at school, obviously. My mom wants to make sure I'm at school. But we're always in the weight room getting ready. We're always studying plays. He's always late after practice helping someone with blitzes. Like he's a dog.
So who got you into football in 8th grade? Who came and said we need you to come play? How did that go about?
I was on the edge because I saw how good my brother was. Obviously, I knew I wouldn't be running back, but and then Scott Bassett kind of just jumped me into it, and he taught me how to be a great lineman, and I don't know.
So you're wearing number 74 now. Is there any significance to that number, or you just like 74?
I had to keep the 4. I couldn't keep the 4-4, but I had to keep the 7-4. So
And maybe to clarify, linemen can't have. They have to be 50 to 79, right? So that's why the 44 was out of the question.
Well, and maybe that's where we need to ask the next question is, if you weren't playing lineman, what position, if you're like, coach, give me a shot, like this is where I need to be? Is it running back? Is that where you be? Or are you QB1 sitting in the wings that just needs his opportunity? What's your next position that you'd love to have?
If they gave me a shot at running back, I think Chris Cook and Max Benson would be very scared.
All right, well, maybe we need to dial it up for the Spanish 4 game next week.
What would be a better combo? Cooper Thacker blocking for Chris Cook, or Chris Cook blocking for Cooper Thacker?
Ooh, I don't know. We could get some I formation, me in front of Chris. I think that would be kind of good.
Sounds good.
So offensive lineman, it's a position that your casual football fan just doesn't pay much attention to. They do a lot of ball watching and follow where the ball's at, but really it's really probably the most important part of the game, the trenches in the line. They really control the game, and when you guys started this year on the offensive line, I think it's safe to say you were very young as far as experience. Now you're 10 games into the season. What's your opinion and your feelings on how your young offensive line has now developed over the course of the year?
I always think that we're the best at watching film. We're best at making adjustments. Like on the sideline, if you see us, if we're not on the field, we're on the bench talking to Coach B about what we can do better, what our slide protection is doing, all that stuff. I just think that our ability to adjust to any given scenario is very great, honestly.
So what gets an offensive lineman excited during a football game? You see these guys like Crew Erickson, Chris Cook breaking big touchdown runs, and these skill position players then kind of have that swagger, after they score. But what about an offensive lineman? Like, what gets you guys going during a game?
When you throw down a big pancake block, that's the greatest feeling in the world, and you spring the runner open. I couldn't imagine a better feeling.
So off of that, it's been a season of kind of valleys and mountains, right? Started slow, had a good start, ended long. Just what's been your favorite moment from this year? Now, gratefully, we get another week. We get another crack at Spanish Fork, so the season's not over. But what's been a moment that stuck out to you, and why is that moment kind of one of your top moments?
Honestly, I agree with last night. I think last night was the best one because we were a close game. We gave them plenty of shots to win. Our defense stood up in a big moment, which is great. We needed that. Our offense picks up our defense picks up our offense is how our scheme works. And just to see, or our special teams won the game, I think. And just to see like big plays being made, and our defense is on the field the whole game. That's just crazy, which I'm glad I'm not saying I'm not on defense, but that's a long time.
Do you have a player that you've gone against this year trying to block that you're just like, that was such a challenge? That guy was so good. Is there someone that comes to mind?
From an opposing team?
Yeah, opposing team.
Oh, honestly, the last guy was pretty good. He liked the bull rush a lot, and I would say
one from last night, that linebacker that was coming through.
Yeah, 30 was a good guy. He was pretty good. But once we got to him, we started getting the run game going.
So you guys challenge yourself as a team. You played some pretty physical teams, whether you be talking about Mountain Ridge or Pleasant Grove, of course, Spanish Fork and Springville. Like you have physical teams. Is there one team that you felt like was just more physical than the rest? And if so, that's got to be something as an offensive lineman, a physical team that kind of gets you excited because it challenges you a little bit. So is there a team, and if so, how do you handle a physical team? What's the difference in game planning there?
Okay, I would say Mountain Ridge and Springville. Those D tackles are very good. Dallin Johnson committed to BYU. I don't know the other kid's name, but he was giving us a problem all night. Basically, when we game plan for a bigger team, we just like, let's do it. If you're not motivated.
So do you try to run at these guys? You call more screen plays? Like what's the strategy that linemen like to go about with that?
We like to go punch him in the mouth. We love the run plays. I mean, we like to pass too because Crew Action can get us some 80-yard touchdowns, bail us out of drives sometimes. But we love the run plays. If we can run the ball on a good defensive line, we feel great. We don't feel like we're going to be beat.
So as far as good run plays, I'm curious because one of my favorite things to watch is when you call a screen and you kind of slip yourself or other offensive linemen out there and you catch the other team off guard, and all of a sudden you got 3 offensive linemen leading the way on a screen pass, and you're out there just kind of bulldozing people. Would you prefer them lining up kind of in the 3-point stance, if you will, and firing off and trying to run the ball, or do you like getting out and getting some momentum like that to try to take the guys out and get a pancake block yourself?
I love the screens because that gives me a shot at a DB, and I don't like DBs very much.
It's where you can show your wheels to Coach Roberts and what he's missing at the running back position as well, right?
Will be installed eventually.
Going to last night's game, Cooper, and you mentioned it, one of the great moments, and you're coming off of 3 losses, and you're able to get the win. Was there a different feel going from a regular season game to a state playoff game? And if so, what was kind of the difference that you had between those two?
Well, I think, because we got scared because we lost our last game, right? So there was a shot we weren't in, but it would have taken something crazy. But all we need to do is get in. That's what Coach Corbin was saying all week. All we need to do is get in. We got in. Now we're dangerous. We have guys that can make plays at a crazy amount. Chris Cook, Crew Erickson, Matt Kelson, you name them. Tavian Edwards, 2 picks, right? That's what I remember. So I think we're dangerous.
So with that, Coop, I mean, a lot of times teams, you're 3 and 6. It's the end of the year. Football's a grind. Practice is hard. And I've coached teams where it just seemed like they were done at the end of the year. I'm not getting that feel at all. Like, we had a great week in practice last week. Why do you think this team is staying with it? Why do you think this team still has that drive to go get some wins in the state tournament?
I believe that we all just want to do it for our seniors, and I agree that we had probably our best week of practice this week. We had our easily, but we just all want to do it for our seniors because we have some dogs that are seniors that can make big plays for us in the postseason. They've been in the postseason before. Chris Cook's been here 2 years in a row, so we feel very confident.
So it's interesting. You bring up the seniors, which are talented, but there's a lot of underclassmen that are also very talented. I think when you look at this team, you've got an interesting matchup in the bracket you're in, too, getting to win against Woods Cross. And now I want to ask you how you feel about getting another crack at Spanish Fork, because this is a team that, whether you're talking the senior, they know them very well, having played them multiple times in their career, or obviously the underclassmen already played them once this year. How's the team viewing and feeling about Spanish Fork?
I think we're feeling good off of that win last week. Like, we're ready to go, and they killed us, which will be flat out, but I think they should be a little scared. We're getting this thing rolling now, and we're ready to go.
What do you think was the issue in that first Spanish Fork game? Like, there were probably many issues, but what was kind of the big problem? Because you're right, Spanish Fork ran away with that one the first time they played us, and I'm sure you've thought about that since that game of, I wish we could have this back or whatever. What do you think would be helpful to change the result this time?
That's a difficult question, but I think the running game. I think we needed to develop the running game, and that I'll take that on our O-line, or on myself mostly. I didn't block the outside edge as well as I could have. I struggled with that guy, but I think we'll play him again. We'll be ready for it.
Well, Cooper, before we turn you loose here, I got a few questions that I just got to ask because I'm just pure curious. Well, this Wasatch team, I want to get to know a little bit more. I like to ask, who is the best trash talker on the Wasatch team?
Garrett Christensen was getting into it last night.
Garrett was giving the business, huh?
Yeah.
He looked like he was a little more energized, so I couldn't hear what was going on.
That fourth down stop, it was funny to watch. It was fun.
He was getting after it. All right, so Garrett, what about on the offensive line specifically? You got any talkers there? Or do they just go about their business?
We are silent on the field. It's funny. We just make our calls and then we're silent. Like, we don't talk really. It's kind of fun actually because we're there. We're steamrolling them on the O line and we're not saying anything to them.
So O linemen, they have this great side benefit that it's good to be bigger. And so where other people are trying to maybe work out or watch what they're eating or whatever it is, you probably get to celebrate after the game by going and having a good meal or something like that.
Yeah,
so what's your pregame or postgame meal that you like going to?
Pregame, when I'm at school, I always go to Subway. I don't know why I like Subway. And then postgame, last night I had Mobetta's.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a good reward for a good postseason victory right
What
there.
about fight night? Now, we don't do fight nights. Very clearly, we don't do fight nights. But if there were fight nights, who you taking on? Like, who are you putting your money on the Wasatch football team?
To win?
To win. King of the ring.
I feel like Big Sexy's he's got that anger in him that he can pull out.
Which is Austin McNaughton for the listeners that don't know that Big Sexy is over there, right? Yeah, all right, Austin. Okay, what about coaching staff? The most intimidating coach.
Oh, Coach Knight. He is. If you do something wrong, you're scared.
Yeah, let's get some predictions from you, Coop. And what about World Series? Astros, Yankees, Phillies, or Padres? Who you liking?
I like the Phillies. I like the underdog story here. I don't know why.
Keep pulling it out.
Yeah.
2-1 lead now.
They look pretty good. I already asked you about the Jets and the Broncos, but let's go college football here. Who do you think is the best team in the state right now? BYU, Utah, Utah State.
I'm a BYU guy, but I have to go
Hold
Utah.
on. BYU, Utah, or Weber State? I mean, why are we throwing Utah State as number 3 there? Like, Weber State is...
Do they have a team up at Weber State?
An undefeated team who beat your Cache Valley team up there.
I didn't know Utah State had started playing yet. I should probably be paying attention.
Yeah,
here.
you started.
No, you like the Utes though, probably the best team in
Yeah,
Utah
I
right
go
now.
Utah, BYU, Weber.
There you go.
All right.
You guys, Oregon, UCLA, Big P Pac-12 game. Who you got?
Oregon. I got Oregon.
I think there.
What about? I'm blanking right now. BYU and Liberty. Who do you like in that one?
I like BYU in that one.
I don't. So that's
That's
one of
intriguing, right? Liberty's 6-1, BYU 4-3. Cross country game. That one is a little bit more interesting.
The other big game, Clemson, Syracuse. Think Syracuse has any chance in that one? Both teams undefeated going into the game.
Is Syracuse at home?
I think they're at Clemson, if I remember.
No, I'll go upset. I'll go Syracuse on that one.
He likes the upset. Yeah, he's an
that's
upset
right.
man over here. This one, not many people care about this game, but I am going to ask because I'm a Utah State man. Utah State taking on Wyoming today. Who do you like in that one?
Ooh, I like Wyoming.
I think I do too, to be honest. That one's interesting. Wyoming's quarterback was Utah State's backup last year that transferred. So, Cooper, thanks for coming on and talking with us. This is Cooper Thacker, junior offensive lineman. If you're watching reruns of the game last night, look at the last minute. Cooper, you had a great block that sealed that win. Sprung Chris out there for a 45-yard run that sealed the deal. So, a lot of fun watching you and your progression this year. You've had an outstanding season.
Thank you.
And we wish you the best of luck against Spanish Fork this week.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back in just a moment.